us on Sunday.
That's been a lot of recollecting going on.
I can imagine. My dad was in the Marines for many years, so I know just what that kind of thing would be like.
A lot of stories.
Explodes at Mitchell. It happened so fast, no one had time to get out.
Fellow crew members of the 128th Air Refueling Group have now lowered their flag.
6 ground crew members are dead. The painful search for answers is only beginning to unfold.
It is a difficult evening, everyone, but we thank you very much for joining us. First, it was a fire, then an explosion just after 7 this morning.
By the time it was over, the only thing left of the KC-135 air refueling tanker was the tail section and the stairs that led up to the plane. 6 grounds crew members probably never knew what hit them.
Dead are 41-year-old Master Sergeant James Schlicht, 33-year-old Tech Sergeant James Russell, 31-year-old Staff Sergeant Patrick Foran, 57-year-old Master Sergeant Roy Starzak, 33-year-old Tech Sergeant Russell Shore, and 32-year-old Tech Sergeant Michael Heath. All died.
And there might well have been more victims if not for the heroic actions of fellow crew members at the base at Mitchell. That's where Dwayne Gay begins our team reports.
What happened here today is tragic, but what is important to realize, it could have been much worse. The plane that exploded is exactly like this plane and was parked side by side to another plane. Seconds after the plane exploded, crewmen moved the plane next to it, saving that plane. Today, those men are being called heroes. One of those men is Lieutenant Colonel Chuck Hardesty. He says he never gave his safety a second thought.
You just kind of throw caution to the wind in a situation like this.
Another 2 men ran past the exploding plane and, in spite of the intense heat, hooked another plane to a tractor and towed it away. Those actions meant planes, but more importantly, lives were saved.
Because it was hot where I was, so it must have been very hot where they were. And there was debris and sparks and smoke, and it was quite amazing that they moved that airplane.
Wayne Gate, Channel 12 News at the 128th Air Refueling Group.
Those 6 crew members were well known in Milwaukee.
And loved. Those who knew them say they were all like family. Colleen Henry is at a place folks from the 128th know well. Colleen?
Well, Marty and Jerry, the First Class Pub is a favorite watering hole of the members of the 128th. In fact, it was a very favorite watering hole, they say, of Tech Sergeant James Russell. He came here often. Tonight, it's not quite so happy a happy hour as friends gather and talk about those they lost in this morning's explosion. It's been a difficult day for friends and colleagues as well. On base, the first sign of a soldier's farewell. Off base, friends of the unit spent the day wondering whom they had lost.
You don't know, I mean, regardless of your history, but you know, who it is, we know a lot closer, just not knowing anything right now.
Many members of the 128th lunched here at the First Class Pub. They followed the manager of their canteen to her new job as a bartender here.
Well, the worst part is probably finding out, you know, that somebody you knew was your friend is gone.
Is it going to be the same around here?
Probably not.
Now outside, you saw that probably in the video. Our thoughts and prayers are with the 128th. Their sign reads outside, and they say here at the First Class Pub that they do plan to set up a fundraiser for the families of their lost friends, Marty and Jerry.
Indeed, we understand there are many funds being set up right now. Are any members of the 128th there, Colleen, if you can still hear me?
Yeah, in fact, Marty behind me, and we're not going to bother them because they're still a little shaken up, but we've spoken with some of the guys who are the firefighters for the 128th. They were out there battling that blaze this morning, and this evening they're just remembering their lost friends.
Thank you very much. Colleen Henry reporting live.
As soon as he heard about the explosion, Governor Tommy Thompson flew out to Mitchell Field this morning.
I personally am real saddened by this terrible fatality, this terrible accident. There will be an investigation.
People living around the airport were shocked by the blast. Jim Hooley talked with those who actually witnessed the explosion.
What did it look like?
It was right there.
Zona Ukasic was eating breakfast. She heard the explosion and ran to get a view of the airport across Cudahy's Pennsylvania Avenue.
One giant fireball is what it was.
One giant fireball. I mean, it went from that side to that side. I mean, it was, you know what I'm saying, for trying to give you an idea of how huge it was. And it just went up. I mean, it was terrible.
Ray Manzik was in his bathroom, shaving. He heard at least 4 separate explosions.
It was something else. I never saw nothing like that before.
Neighbors rushed to call 911, helpless to do anything else.
For the people who work and the people who pass through the terminal here at Mitchell International, today's tragedy is an all too horrible reminder.
Scott Mueller was on the tarmac for Midwest Express.
We work around aircraft all day long. You know, it sends a chill down your spine thinking about what could really happen.
Late this afternoon, Mitchell passengers reflected while waiting for the next flight, all in the shadow of the morning's wreckage. Jim Hooley, Channel 12 News, Mitchell International.
Of course, the explosion disrupted some passenger service at Mitchell this morning. The airport had to be closed, but only for less than an hour.
The 128th is filled with professionals with big hearts. Earlier this year in January, one of their KC-135s ushered fresh pilots to the food airlift operation in Somalia. And then one of their flight surgeons saw firsthand that children were dying of chest colds and measles, so he decided to collect medicine. His commander volunteered a plane to get the medicine to Somalia. And after we told you about that, viewers opened their hearts and contributed to what turned out to be $250,000 in medicine.
Let's just talk a minute about the aircraft which exploded. It is a Boeing 707 jetliner modified to haul jet fuel and pass it through a retractable pipeline called a boom, that's at the rear of the plane there, into another aircraft in midair. It's a flying filling station. In both the commercial and military configurations, this is one of the most reliable, stable aircraft ever built. They've flown millions of miles in every conceivable environment. They are, in the vernacular, good birds. The mission is simple: refuel fighters and bombers so they can stay airborne over very long distances, keep moving, get where they need to be as quickly as possible. The nerve-wracking part of the job falls to the boom operator. He or she literally flies a telescoping metal pipeline from the bottom of the tanker out to link up with a receiver aircraft at roughly 500 miles per hour. You top off the tanks and then you get out of the way.
Okay, stand by.
KC-135s have served this country around the world for more than a quarter of a century. Rock solid and dependable. All of which adds up to a tough investigation ahead. The crews of the 128th are among the most talented and experienced in all the National Guard. In many cases better than regular Air Force crews. And the KC-135 is a very good airplane.
It's been a devastating day all around.
Our thoughts and our prayers are with the 128th tonight. We'll be right back.
At 27.
Tragedy can strike at any moment with no apparent warning. It also makes clear the fact that some of us have more dangerous jobs than others. In particular, the men and women who serve all of us by serving their country face risks on a daily basis that most of us don't have to confront. Those risks aren't always in exotic parts of the world like Somalia or Saudi Arabia, but often in our own backyards. I know a few members of the 128th Guard Unit. I know about their dedication and their pride over the good job they did in Desert Storm. Today, sadly, all of us know a little more about the risks they face for us every day. Standing up for Milwaukee, I'm Mark Belling.
Mark Belling's opinions are his own and not necessarily those of Channel 12.